Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper and today I'll be doing the top 5 games that I would like to see get remakes. Now, remakes are pretty much well known, or there are a whole lot of remakes in the film and game industries, whether that's remakes of older films or games that might not have, old films that might not have been that much well known, depending on who you ask. And there are some remakes of games and movies that are really well popular. For example, you've got the Last of Us remakes, or the remastered games. You've got Persona 3 Reload. You've got the variety of Legend of Zelda remakes from Ocarina of Time to Twilight Princess. And in this video, I'll be going over some of the games that I've experienced, and I would like to see get remakes. And yeah. So for number 5 is New Super Mario Bros. For the DS. Now this is basically the first new Mario Bros. Game in the series in terms of you got the DS version, then you've got the Wii U, and then the Wii U Deluxe version for the Switch. And I would say this game, could possibly get a remake, or in the sense, or has the potential to get one, because this is a really, really old game. I think it was released, in the early, oh no, not the early, I would say around the time that the DS was launched. I think somewhere in the mid 2000s, and this could have the potential to get a remake, and maybe it could have the same sort of art style as Mario Bros. Wonder, because with Mario Bros. Wonder, that game was such a breath of fresh air when it comes to the whole 2D experience of Mario games, when it comes to the 2D levels and stuff like that. And I feel like with New Super Mario Bros. For the DS, it could go in a similar path to Mario Bros. Wonder, in that it could have the same art style. It could have some of the bosses could be or some new bosses and stuff like that. And because a lot of the bosses are mainly just Bowser Jr. or Bowser, and there are some other bosses like a Goomba. You've got that giant worm thingy, and yeah, there are some unique bosses, and I feel like maybe in each of the castles, or the midpoint castles, there could be a different boss, maybe, that isn't just Bowser Jr., but with a different skin, or with a different art style, or world variations. So yeah, so New Super Mario Bros. For the DS could get a remake, potentially, so yeah. For number 4 is Lego Batman the video game for the DS. Now, this game is one of the games I remember playing a whole lot as a kid. Kind of similar to how I remember I played a lot of the New Super Mario Bros. For the DS when I was a kid. I remember playing those two games a whole lot. And I feel like with Lego Batman the video game, that could get a remake. And it could go in a similar way in terms of like how Lego Marvel Super Heroes 2 is done in a sort of way, in the sense that you take the graphics of that game for the DS for Lego Batman, but make them more HDer and stuff like that, make them more in high definition and stuff like that. And you could have, like, similar to how the DS game works, you could go into like the Batcave and Wayne Manor, and then go into Arkham Asylum, where you can do all of the villain levels and stuff like that. So yeah, it could go something like it could just basically just be like a more high definition version of the DS game. And yeah, and there could be some new stuff. Maybe like something like that. I'm not really sure. I think the DS game is fun. I think it's fine in terms of how it's done, but I think if it was just given a new coat of paint, I think it will be a whole lot more better. So yeah. For number 3 is Pokemon Black and White. Now with this one, I think it makes, in terms of the Pokemon series, it makes the most logical sense in terms of when when the Pokemon games were getting remakes. And yeah, 'cause like I feel like with the last one, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, those were fine. I think, but they were enjoyable. I did enjoy like the new way the underground section was handled. I feel like with Black and White, they could go in the same direction as Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I feel like because I think it would just make the games a whole lot too easy, and I feel like a lot of the challenge would be lost. And I think that's mainly due to the experience share. So, if there is a Pokemon Black and White remake, I feel like there could be an option in which there in terms of like you could take off the experience share, or the experience share is just an item you can give to one of your Pokemon, something like that. And yeah, I feel like or there could be a mode. I think it's similar to how Black and White 2 does it, in that some of the challenges are much more, or some of the trainers are much more challenging. That there could be specific Pokemon you can't get at particular levels or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm just spitballing at this point. And yeah, I think with remakes for Black and White, I think it could be it could be nice to see them being remade. And I feel like if there's ever going to be another direct soon, maybe towards the end of October, maybe start of November, we could see another direct, and maybe Pokemon Black and White remakes could be shown at that direct. So yeah, for number 2 is the original God of War trilogy. Now, I've played through God of War 3 and I did enjoy that, and I've seen bits of God of War 1 and 2, and I feel like a God of War remake for the original trilogy could be potentially out there and up in the air maybe. And I'm going to quickly spoil the end of Valhalla for God of War Ragnarok, so if you haven't beaten the Valhalla DLC, I suggest you go play through it, because it's a really fun bit of DLC as a sort of wrap up for the Norse Pantheon saga. But at the end of Valhalla, Kratos sees a younger version of himself sitting in the throne at the end of the DLC, and with that with that character model of young Kratos, I feel like there's a potential for remakes of the original trilogy, because it looks good. It looks really good. I think if we are given not DLCs, remakes for the God of War trilogy, I think there's a potential there. I think it could be fun to re-experience, or if you're old fans, re-experiencing the old God of War games with a new coat of paint. But if you're new fans like myself, who might have experienced God of War through the 2018 game and Ragnarok, it could be cool to experience the old games and with the God of War 2018 Ragnarok art style and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be happy to see remakes of those 3 games on like the PS5 and stuff like that. And it could be cool to see like some of the cooler stuff and how Kratos got its origins and stuff like that. So yeah. And for number 1 is Persona 4. Now, with Persona 4, it is if Alice do remake that game, I think is obviously going to go down the Persona 3 Reload remake strategy thing, in the sense that Persona 4 is going to have the same art style as Persona 5. It's going to carry over like the baton pass and that sort of thing, and probably it's probably just going to have like a lot of the same like stuff as Persona 5, like you talking with some of your friends before school, hearing rumors, that sort of thing, like how in Persona 5 and 3 Reload does it. And yeah, and I think Atlas, because of how Persona 5, no, not Persona 5, Persona 3 Reload and Persona Icus were released, in the sense that it's still relatively new. I would feel like Atlas would want to wait a while before doing a remake or another remake of Persona 4 or in the Persona series. So I feel like Atlas are probably going to do or release a Persona 6, and then after a while they're going to make and release Persona 4 Remake. And yeah, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how well Persona 4 can be seen in a more um, in a better art style and graphics wise, because Persona 4 Golden is fun. I think it's a really good game. But I think a remake would definitely help it, and I think and seeing that game in a sort of like new art style and new way of playing the game would be cool. And yeah, I think it's gonna keep a lot of the same stuff, like that Persona 4 as well as Golden had, like the shuffle time thing. I think it's obviously gonna keep that. And yeah, but when it comes to remaking Persona 4 or Persona 4 Golden, it's going to be one. I think Atlas are probably going to just remake Persona 4 and not Golden, because with Persona 3 Reload and Episode Aegis, I feel like those two bits of games were, I think, it made more or less convoluted from what I see, because Episode Aegis takes place a few months after the ending of Persona 3. And with Persona 4 Golden, you have the whole Marie dungeon, and that's kind of part of the main plot, and that isn't something very easily you can just add on as DLC, I would say, because that's, if you want to get the Marie dungeon, or if you want to get the true ending, you have to do Marie's social link, and then you can get the dungeon, and as well as the true ending. And I feel like, because it's so integral to the plot, I think it will be difficult to add it on as DLC. So I feel like Atlas could just remake Persona 4, or they could just remake Persona 4 Golden, maybe. Something like that. I'm not really sure. It could go either way. It could go for Persona 4 or just Persona 4 Golden. It could be one of the things. But overall, I would say that Persona 4 could and definitely would get a remake sometime down the line, maybe. So yeah, so that's been my top 5 games I'd like to see get remakes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.